Welcome to the Kindness Project, the podcast designed to share stories of kindness and share how kindness can make positive change in our world, one small act at a time.
This week we're talking about My Incredible Chin, the Brothers Grimm, and a special edition of Kindness News. Welcome to the Kindness Project. I'm joined by Chris Dames. He's not old yet.
Yet? What are you trying to say? And I'm joined by Charlotte Dames, the girl whose laugh is fantastically infectious and chin is unbelievably ridiculous. So what do you mean by not old yet?
Yet.
Well,
Getting there, mate. You're getting on a bit.
Well, when do you actually get old, in your opinion?
I don't know.
I asked Sophie the other day, and she said, like, everybody's old. Like, when you're 6, everybody is old. like relatively 40 is ancient, isn't it?
Oh my god.
When you're 6.
I think men for men old should be a lower number because women have a longer lifespan. So
yeah, true. But surely old is more a mental thing, isn't it? Like, I know blokes my age who go, "Oh, I feel old." It's like, well, you're like not even in the middle of your life yet. Do you know what I mean? You've still got ages. Why are you looking like that? You've still got ages to go.
I mean...
But yeah, so I think that age, even though the body is having some issues...
Deterioration.
Not deterioration. Having some issues I need to fix that I probably wouldn't have had when I was 20. I don't feel old. I definitely don't feel old. But Charlotte, that chin is a lovely chin.
Something we don't speak of unless I take a funny picture of it.
Well, it's like Voldemort, is it your chin?
Yes, exactly.
We do not speak of the chin.
Unless we have seen the chin.
Have you seen the chin? But I don't know how you make those shapes with your chin. I mean, have you been practicing up in your bedroom or something? Is it a skill you've acquired over time, having a flexible chin?
I just like to pull funny faces, and sometimes when I move my mouth weirdly, my chin kind of bends and misshapes and wrinkles.
I mean, you are a beautiful girl.
Not really, no.
You are.
Okay.
You are. But that chin, that chin is incredible. It's absolutely incredible. And it's great. But I tell you what, you're both you and Sophie, when you laugh, I just can't help getting excited. I just can't help that feeling of just
Euphoria.
you make me happy when you laugh.
Aw, thanks, old man.
That's all right. No, you said I wasn't old.
Yes. I'm trying to get you there.
Yeah, you are. You give me so much worry. It's untrue. Just about that chin. So, listeners, let's talk about what we always talk about at the introduction to the Kindness Project. The question. Oh, sorry, you wanted to do the trailer, didn't you?
Question of the podcast. Trying something new, guys.
We are trying something new. It used to have a different tune, didn't it, the question of the podcast?
I can't remember how it went.
All right, okay, that's fine. So question of the podcast this week is, what was the last TV show you really got into and why? What was yours, Charlotte?
It was either Teen Wolf or Grimm. Grimm because, I love Grimm. It's got all these characters and they're all seen, it's based off the Brothers Grimm. So all the characters,
Who? The Brothers Chin?
The Brothers Grimm, the stories of the Brothers Grimm. And honestly, all the characters, they're based on, animals and monsters. So
okay.
You've got the lizard people and you've got the...
When were the lizard people in one of the Grimm's fairy tales?
Shush.
No, I don't know. I'm just asking.
I haven't read them. But they're based off the Brothers... And at the start of every episode, there is a quote from the Brothers
One
Grimm.
of the stories, right?
Yeah, so...
Okay.
But some of the characters, they are of a certain species, and yet they're not like that. So you have the main character, Nick, and he's a Grimm. And what Grimms usually do is they go around and they chop off all the heads of all these...
what they usually do, listeners, and what Charlotte's just done, is throw a pencil on the floor. I mean, I don't know why she needed to hold or throw that pencil.
No, but they chop off the heads of all these creatures.
How do they feel about pencils?
Well,
do they try and intentionally damage pencils as well?
No, they write in these journals and they write stories about all the kills they've had.
Do they write in pencil?
No, they write in pen and German and Japanese and Australian sometimes. Australian one?
I didn't realise Australians spoke another language.
It's a dialect.
Yeah. All right, mate. All right, cover. So my one is one that many of our listeners would have caught up with. I was going to announce that properly, and you were like, that Game of Thrones. Many of our listeners would have watched already, and a long time ago. It's Game of Thrones, and I got the box set for Christmas, watched it quite a lot. Well, not, but I didn't binge it. It took me a few months to get through it, but watched it.
Yeah, it was quite slow of you, in fact.
Yeah, well, I had some other stuff to do, funny enough, Charlotte. Podcast, running a business, doing a studying, doing a few bits, and watching Game of Thrones. So every time I was watching it, I've got a mate, Sam, who works with me, and we went into the office. Every time we went in the office, I went, "Oh, I'm up to this part," and he used to turn around and go, "Tell me something that happened sort of two seasons after." And listen, I don't want to mention any specific incidents, just in case you haven't watched Game of Thrones. But I didn't think I was going to get into Game of Thrones, and then sort of gave it a chance. 3 or 4 episodes in, absolutely loved it. But I can't even remember the last show I really got into, because I don't. You watch
Line of Duty.
Line of Duty, maybe. Yeah, Line of Duty was very, very good. What show have you given a chance and you thought, actually,
I don't know. Oh, that's very difficult, actually, because I don't like putting down shows. But like, there's some shows and you watch them and you kind of go, that's like an hour of my life wasted.
Yep. Yeah, and most reality TV, in my opinion, is that.
Yeah, but some reality TV, it's amusing to see how stupid people are.
Yeah, but why would you even waste your energy looking at that?
I don't know. I usually just listen to it. It's funny.
Right. Difference of opinion between podcast host listeners, because I think most reality TV is an absolute waste of time.
Yeah, but
anyway, podcasting is the medium that everybody should be getting into, shouldn't they?
Most people don't think podcasts are stupid. I don't know. I like podcasts.
You're the host of a podcast.
Most people are like, oh yeah, music's amazing, and then you turn around to someone and go, well, what are you listening to? And you go a podcast, and they will look at you like you are so out of fashion.
Podcasts are the in thing now. Everybody loves a podcast. We obviously move in completely different circles, Charlotte. Which is not surprising, considering I'm 40 and you're 14. If I was moving in your circles, it'd be a bit worrying, wouldn't it?
Well, I'm moving more in your circles than you are, mate.
Yeah, exactly. Do you want to call me mate again? That was quite fun. All right, mate? Yeah, mate. No, cool, mate. Yeah. So, I mean, obviously, we've got some really refined listeners. Otherwise, they wouldn't be listening to a podcast. And our listeners really like to get involved in the podcast, don't they? Because we get a decent number of comments on Facebook and Twitter every week getting involved in the question of the podcast. But how can people actually get in touch?
Oh, you're asking me?
Yeah.
Hola at not holla at the kindness project, that's the email.
Nearly 6 months we've been doing this.
Okay.
Nearly 6 months. Hola. Hola. H.
Hola kindness. That's the Twitter. And then at.
How's that spelled, Charlotte?
HOLA kindness.
Okay. Silent H?
Yeah, it's a silent H. He's giving me the judgmental looks again. Hola at the kindness project.
Hola.
.co.uk.
That's the email.
Yes.
That's the email.
And then you do yours and I'll do mine and then we'll be done.
God. Are you getting like sort of, honestly, it's like sort of, there are people who will listen to this for the first time. This will be the first ever podcast they listen to. And they'll go, what is this shambolic nonsense? Listen to...
It's a bit of fun.
Listen to podcast 1. It's no better, to be honest. But, give it a go. It's not worse, but, give it a go. So, you can get in touch with us at holla Holla Kindness, HOLA Kindness on Twitter, or holla at thekindnessproject.co.uk. Our website is www.thekindnessproject.co.uk.
No holla.
Or we can do individual Twitters. So what's your individual Twitter bio? Handle.
Handle. My bio is something I've forgotten long ago. Charlotte J. Dames, CHARLOTTEJDEAMS.
Bit fast. And my Twitter handle is Chris, CHRIS, D for Delta, A for Alpha, E for Echo, M for Mother, S for Sugar. So that was potentially one of the most shambolic introductions we've ever done. Should we get on with the show? So, it's that time again for Kindness News. And what edition is it this week?
It's the special edition.
Kindness News Special Edition, which means we've got even more Kindness News than ever before, right? So, would you like to share your first Kindness News story?
Okay, it's called Pick Up the Tab.
Pick up the tab.
Okay, this one you might like, I don't know. Hundreds of thousands of workers were affected by the US government shutdown last autumn. So when waitress Sarah Hodal heard two National Guard soldiers discussing how they would be missing out on pay, she decided to pick up the bill for them, leaving a note that read, "Thanks to the Gov shutdown, the people like you that protect this country are not getting paid.
Okay.
However, I still am. Lunch is on me. Thank you for serving, ladies. Have a good day." And then when TV star Ellen DeGeneres heard about this single mum's generous act, she decided to reward her 300 times over. Ellen gave Sarah back the £27.75 she paid, plus a cheque for $10,000.
Love it. And Ellen is a paragon of kindness, isn't she? So Ellen,
she's our weekday ritual.
Yeah, you know what? I don't watch that much telly, but Ellen is always on in our house because everybody loves it. It's probably the only show that everybody in this house loves, right?
Doctor Who.
Doctor Who, everybody loves. Doctor Who and Ellen are our...
Bit of a stretch for comparison.
Yeah. Well, I'm not sure, but they're both pretty awesome people, Doctor Who and Ellen, aren't they?
Yeah, but one of them.
And now they're both women as well.
Yeah.
So there are comparisons you can make between Doctor Who and Ellen. But actually, I love the fact that Ellen does the same as us in terms of just all she does is focus on the positives. She doesn't ignore the negative stuff, but she looks at life through a rose-tinted filter that means that what she wants to do is focus on what's good and not what's scary or bad or horrible. What do you think?
Yeah, I was going to say kaleidoscope because, that kind of jumbles everything up, and when you see things through a kaleidoscope, you can always see the beauty of things a little bit more.
Yeah, but rose-tinted glasses is normally the phrase people use to say that they look at things particularly positively, isn't it?
I'm going to start a new trend. I'm going to start calling it kaleidoscope.
So apparently we've redefined rose-tinted glasses. Looking at things positively now is, I look at things through a kaleidoscope. I don't know where that comes from. What you mean? It looks like patterned and blurred and stuff like that. I don't know. But yeah, Ellen is pretty awesome at just delivering happiness and kindness. So what's your next piece of kindness news?
Okay. Girl comforted 6-year-old flying alone to meet her grandma. Gets rewarded by airline for her kindness.
Okay.
A girl comforted a 6-year-old who was alone on a flight and was rewarded for her kindness by the airline. Emma Morgese, 10, and her dad Philip, who runs the Daddy-Daughter Hair Factory in America.
Sorry. Can we just talk about the Daddy-Daughter Hair Factory before we move on? Right? So the Daddy-Daughter Hair Factory. Now, I run a business, right? You don't. Should we start a business of our own called the Daddy-Daughter Hair Factory UK edition?
No, you know nothing about hair.
I haven't got enough left to worry about my hair.
Neither have I.
Well, I think if you and I had turned up and went, actually, we're going to cut your hair, they'd take a look at both our hairs and go, Are you joking? Are you seriously? What makes you two qualified? A semi-bald bloke and a girl with a haystack on her head to I cut my hair. So maybe not daddy-daughter. What's the name of the business?
Daddy-daughter hair factory.
We're not going to open the daddy-daughter hair factory, but how about the daddy-daughter care factory?
Nah,
Is that a no? Daddy-daughter scare factory?
Nah.
Daddy-daughter bear factory? All right, I'm giving up. Okay. All right, carry on with this.
Emma Morgese and her dad Philip, who runs the daddy-daughter hair factory in America, met 6-year-old Ellie while they were waiting for their flight.
Okay.
The pair chatted to Ellie's mum Cora, who explained Ellie was flying alone to visit her grandma in Orlando during the school holidays.
Where were they flying from? Does it say?
Doesn't say.
Okay.
Yet. Emma offered to let Ellie sit next to her on the flight, much to Cora's relief. Philip Morgese shared the story on his Facebook page on 6th of March, writing, "We volunteered to keep an unaccompanied minor company during our flight home. It was her first time flying and I could tell she was nervous." Morgese continued, "Emma got to be a big sister for her and even taught her how to braid. It was such an adorable experience. She offered to walk her to the bathroom and she chatted with the flight assistants while waiting for her to finish. Then she made sure she washed her hands." There are photos that show Emma and Ellie braiding their hair, watching programs on Emma's tablet and playing Uno. Morgese explained when they landed they accompanied Ellie to her aunt at the gate and saw her off. "Emma, you're an amazing girl with a beautiful heart. You can be proud. You can be 1, 2, 3. You can be blah 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 blah. You can be really proud of yourself, and I'm sure your dad is proud of you too." Someone commented on the photos. Another person wrote, "You two are amazing. Emma, you were a stunning and adorable young lady." After seeing the story shared on Facebook, the airline, Frontier Airlines, wanted to reward Emma for her kindness on the flight.
Yeah.
Frontier Airlines messaged me and offered a gift certificate for Emma's next flight with them. Morgese wrote in his comments. How cool is that?
Lovely, really, really beautiful. And the fact that, you're there for other families to help them out. I mean, it's difficult sometimes, isn't it?
Yeah.
To organise travel plans. So the fact that somebody can step into the breach, support your child travelling and do that is great news. So I really like that story. What's next?
Okay.
Because this is a bumper edition, isn't it? We're doing 3 kindness news stories in a row.
While I was looking for this one, I found like 20 stories we've already done.
Okay, yeah.
Trying to avoid reading those ones out.
Well, we have done quite a lot. I mean, we're a decent number of episodes in now, so we've done quite a lot of kindness news, but I'm sure that we'll carry on finding the stories of kindness. So what's your third story?
Okay. A Good Samaritan has been applauded by people around the world for paying for an elderly woman's shopping when her card was declined. Ryan O'Donnell, 34, was in an Australian supermarket, Wyoming Coles, when he noticed the woman was having a difficulty paying. The dad, who was in the supermarket with his 2 young children, offered to pay for the shopping, which he's since confirmed cost less than $50 or £31.
Yeah.
O'Donnell's kind-hearted act was caught on camera by a fellow shopper, who later posted the image to Twitter, where it's been liked more than 700 times. On Twitter, many people have commented to praise O'Donnell for his generosity.
Yeah.
"What a nice person, humans at their best," one person wrote. Another added, "Absolute champion, there should be more people like him in the world. If we all knew how to give, think of how amazing life would be." Speaking to the Daily Mail Australia, O'Donnell said the woman, whose name is unknown, asked how she could pay him back, but he told her not to worry. "Realistically, it was just because the lady reminded me of my mum and grandma, and that's how my mum and dad brought me up," he said. "If you can help, you do it, and where and when to the best of your ability."
Yeah.
What a great guy.
I love that. And the fact that we do this together and hopefully we learn from each other about what kindness means. I mean, certainly having a look at that and, him saying, "I wanted to help her out because she reminded me of my mum," is one of the reasons why we do this podcast, right? Because we want to just share together. And actually, I think I learn as much from you about kindness as you do from me, to be honest. But it's all good fun. So that was a massive bumper edition of Kindness News, right?
Yep.
I mean, that was 3 stories. We talked about flights. Why, have you got some extras?
Got more.
Have you got more? Share us as this is a Kindness News special bumper edition. I think we've got room for one more, right?
One more.
Okay, got him.
Okay, a mum of 3 who was having a difficult shopping trip with her kids was touched by when a lady gifted her with a well-deserved treat: wine. Alex, good sir.
Sorry, what's the headline on this? Woman bribes mum with wine.
Mum struggling at a supermarket with 3 kids overwhelmed by strangers' random acts of kindness. Alex, good sir, 28.
Good sir! Good sir! Hello, Mrs. Good Sir.
28 from Australia, was in Aldi with her 4-year-old daughter, 2-year-old son,
Budget shopping, we like it.
an 8-month-old daughter who has hip dysplasia.
Okay.
Good Sir's youngest daughter was in a cast and couldn't fit in the trolley, so her eldest agreed to push her in the pram, whilst Good Sir did the... I hope I'm pronouncing that right, otherwise I'm really embarrassing.
Good Sir?
Yeah.
How's it spelled?
Gooddsyr.
Yeah, that's Good Sir. That is a great name. Mrs. Alex, or Miss Alex Good Sir.
Needless to say, 5 minutes in, the young girl was tired and wasn't up for pushing the pram anymore.
Gotcha.
Here I was left with a trolley, pram and 2 kids thinking hide and seek in the middle of the store was a good idea. Good Sir told the Huffington Post UK. Good Sir explained that after the hide and seek game was shut down, her kids proceeded having tantrums. Tantrums were had over the fact Aldi didn't sell paddle pops, lollies, and that chocolate as a breakfast choice was not acceptable, she added.
I'm liking Good Sir.
After we finished
I like
shopping,
Alex Good Sir.
and I was an absolute sweating mess. I was in the car park packing my car, and an elderly couple came up to me. Good Sir was certain the couple were going to comment on the tantrums her kids had.
Yeah.
The lady said, "Excuse me, miss," and I turned around expecting some worldly parenting advice, she told HuffPost UK. Instead, the kind strangers handed me 2 bottles of wine and said, "Parenting is hard at the best of times. Have a drink on us, and know you survived the day."
Oh, what a nice thing to do.
Good Sir added, "After feeling like I had failed as a parent that day, these kind, generous souls restored my faith in humanity."
Yeah, but the problem is with that, Charlotte, you know what the challenge is with that? You know I can't let Mummy listen to this podcast now because I know that Mummy will turn around and go, "Nobody's handed me wine for looking after Sophie." Just like that is a great thing to do, isn't it?
Yep.
And I don't think often enough people realise, and we've talked about this on the Kindness Project before, but people realise how genuinely difficult parenting out in public is. So if someone just turn around and say, "I've been there, have some booze."
Just go here, 2 bottles of wine.
I've never been handed gin for looking after children. I don't know
Would
why.
you look after children that are that much trouble?
No, I don't actually. That's true. But yeah, that is awesome. Thank you, Charlotte, for a bumper kindness news haul. Out of your 4 stories, what's your favourite?
I can't remember all.
I like the one where Ellen popped up, and weirdly, I like the one involving booze. So they're my 2 favourites.
I like the one about the girl on the plane. I think that was nice.
That was sweet. And we'll see you next time.
La la la.
Have little things on there, Charlotte. What are you up to?
I was testing the mic volume.
I wonder what you was up to. Whilst you're doing that, I might have a test of my slurp of tea.
It's gonna be bland.
So it's
bland.
Bland. It's that boom. It's that time of the podcast again that we
Wrap it up.
But the end isn't ever really the end, is it?
The end is nigh.
The end is nigh, but the end also means we do what? Slap our legs. Slap our legs in a funny style.
Last week's question of the podcast. This week, last week, this week.
Yeah, something like that. And last week's question of the podcast was, if you could steal one skill or attribute from each of your parents, what would it be? So what was your answer? My confidence and Mummy's brains, looks, charm, everything else?
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay, so would you like some of our listeners' answers?
Yes.
John Boy Cook, friend of the show, said, "Oh, that's really tough." Okay, in terms of what I've inherited, Dad's work ethic and Mum's kind-heartedness. So quite kindness news related. Kindness news John Cook edition.
We might have to make one of those one of these days.
Yeah, true. Friend of the show and mother-in-law of me and grandmother of you, Robbie White.
Yes.
Says, both of my parents were very loving and giving. They were also considerate, kind and thoughtful towards others, which I think I've inherited. Also, brains and good looks. She's just shoving it all out there, isn't she?
Yeah, I want the full package. I want a full deck of
Not
cards.
only loving and giving, considerate, kind and thoughtful, they also have brains and good looks. Cassie inherited the same brains and good looks and the skill of baking and cooking. She's not even satisfied with considerate, kind, thoughtful, loving, giving, brains and good looks. She's had to add baking and cooking at the end as well.
Exactly.
Yes, that's a good one. Jacqueline Hall said, I've inherited my mum's determination and my dad's work ethic.
Work ethic seems to be a trend.
Work ethic?
Work ethic.
Work ethic? Does seem to be a trend. Friend of the show, Justin Gaffney, said, from my mother, her cooking skills, baking seems to be a trend. And from my father, his follicular abilities. He's late 70s and still a full, thick head of hair, unlike my bald head. So, I am going bald. Why are you laughing? It's not an understatement. I'm going the good kind of bald, though, because I'm going bald backwards. And
He's going bald from the middle out. Yeah. So you're not going to notice it until he's lost the front and the back.
Until it's too late. And yes.
Or unless he turns sideways because you can see the little gap.
And we've got some awesome stories of kindness this week. Nigel Mathers, friend of the show.
Friend of the show?
Friend of the show.
Got a lot of friends of the show?
we're a friendly show. Did a bit of a readers' stories of kindness travel edition.
Ooh.
He drove over 500 kilometres on a 12-hour stint across the French and Swiss Alps to get an emergency passport from the British Embassy in Bern via Châtel, Morzine and Geneva, so the girl who lost her passport could come back home to see their mother who was very ill. So that was like an epic journey across France and Switzerland to help a daughter whose mum was very ill. That is an awesome story of kindness. And Nigel Mathers is sort of in a position where he might have to get his own kindness news because he keeps on
contributing to this section.
Contributing to the stories of kindness. And then he just posted a picture on Facebook of Batman and Superman. Now, don't pick up your part, Nigel. We'll tell you when you're close to superhero status. And something nice happened to me when I asked this question. Because my old dinner lady, Anita, asked me to do a favour for her and give her some advice about, some career advice about her grandson, which I was happy to try and help with. Her grandson's currently at university. Yeah. So we spent about half an hour chatting on the phone about all sorts of things that might be able to help her grandson. So happy to help Anita, and thanks for the Facebook message saying what I did was quite kind. I appreciate that. So that's all I've got for this end of the show.
Yeah.
Shall we see you next time?
See you next time.
See you next time. Bye.
Bye.